We're going to conclude our little journey here on adding and subtracting polynomials, at least for the time being, by going through a little word problem. And you'll probably find that this word problem may be either amusing and or surprising, because what it discusses is how, or its premise is, that cell phones and digital cameras were sold at one time as separate devices at electronic stores. You probably can't imagine it today, but at one time cell phones were just that, a phone. And they did not include a camera like we have today. And people actually had cell phones, and then they had digital cameras that they carried around both maybe from time to time. Of course, now we got cameras in our phones, and these cameras in our phones are actually superior to the digital cameras that most of us used back in the day. But anyway, we're going to go through the problem. And so here we've got two equations. So the equations P equals 7m plus 137 and C equals 4m plus 78 represent the number of cell phones P and digital cameras C sold in M months at an electronic store. So the variable P represents the number of cell phones sold in this linear equation, and the variable C represents the number of digital cameras sold, and M represents the number of months of sales at this electronic store. Well, let's continue on. It says use these instructions to write an equation that represents the difference in the monthly sales of cell phones and monthly sales of digital cameras. And then lastly, use the equation to predict the difference in monthly sales in 24 months. Well, let's see. We got two polynomial. They're both binomials, actually, we could say. And so this first one, I'm going to go up here to the top right. We got 7m plus 137. That's the equation for the number of phones sold. And then we've got the equation for the digital cameras, which is 4m plus 78. And we're asked to find the difference, which means we're going to subtract the two equations. And therefore, when we subtract that, that's going to have the effect of changing the signs of each of these two terms in this binomial for the digital cameras. And so let's see, 7m minus 4m, well, that's going to result in 3m. And 137 minus 78, let's see, let's borrow 117 minus 8 is 9. And we borrowed 112. 12 minus 7 is 59. So we have an equation that represents the difference between the number of phones sold and the number of cameras sold. And now we're going to use this to predict what the difference would have been back in some point in time. Trying to remember when cameras came in phones. Certainly with the advent of the iPhone it did. So we're going to substitute 24 in for m into this equation, 3m plus 59. So we got 3 times 24, 2 months, 2 years, 24 months, 2 years, plus 59. And let's see, 3 times 24, 3 times 4 is 12, that's 2, carried 1, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1, 72, plus 59, and 72 plus 59 equals 2 and 9 is 11, carry 1, 8 and 5 is 13, 131. So whatever time period this was, there was, in that 2-year period, they sold 131 more cell phones than they did digital cameras. Aren't you glad that your camera comes in your phone with as many selfies as I see you people taking of yourselves, which is really kind of distressing in a way. I know you're glad. That and all your Snapchat and all this other stuff, Instagram, whatever. Have a nice day.